above, and dozens of spies have infiltrated our walls. We have herded the cowards to the Mage District, and have secured the rest of the city.
Hi folks, welcome to G4G here on YouTube. Today we're taking a look at the battle for Lordaeron as it exists within the Biffa beta that is currently going on in the middle of June 2018. So I am the giant red bear in the center of the screen as I have copied over my characters from my live account. Yay, turn friendly nameplates off. So this is the very beginning of the scenario where we are to go through and make our way through the Mage District after finding all the spies, and you can see that I'm at 65%. And we're now at about 95, so this should be wrapping up pretty quickly. So my talents are looking like this of Blood Frenzy, Wild Charge, Restoration Affinity, Mass Entanglement, Galactic Guardian, and Pulverize. I will say that throughout Legion, I have always kept Blood Frenzy, Wild Charge, and the Restoration Affinity. Mass Entanglement is kind of situational. I liked Typhoon at certain points. I like Mass Entanglement for certain points. It kind of depended on how the raid fight was going. I do love Armor Bear. I like Ursoc a lot. However, Galactic Guardian has proven to be considered very strong. Guardian of Valoon I also like quite a bit as compared to the others over here, and Pulverize and Rend and Tear have kind of bumped around a little bit. There was a period of time where Rend and Tear took over as better than being Pulverized, and then fairly quickly afterwards they fixed it so that Pulverize was the strongest. For the PvP talents, I went with Relentless, Charging Bash, Dead Mother, and Demoralizing Roar, but I do not plan to flag myself. Now, one thing that is going to be a very big consideration once Biffa drops is, what is it going to be like for threat? For tanks inside of dungeons and everything, because the threat modifiers are going to be going down. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see, how things are going to adapt for tanks, especially bears, because, for bears a lot of times swipe and thrash can do it. But at times when Druid threat has been a little bit of an issue, it's mostly because the party kind of isn't doing the exact thing that you're doing. Druids can focus kind of heavily on single target, but then that's always the pulls when like mages and locks are AoEing everything down, so you're beginning to lose secondary and tertiary threat. Or you go into a big pull and you focus on the AoE with Swipe and Thrash, and you have one member of your party that is really fucking going to town on one target, so your AoE threat is good, but then your single target is less so, and then you wind up losing a mob, especially if it's not your primary target. So when threat is good for druids, basically you could do all jobs at once. Just by doing, a normal tanking rotation, you're covering both the AoE and the single target. I have a feeling in Biffa it's going to require careful ability maintenance, and you know, taunt on rotation might be a thing again. A lot of newer tanks do kind of not know what that's like, but older tanks dating back to vanilla and TBC, I mean, taunting was not just something to begin a fight or to swap tanks. It was almost part of the rotation. Especially with the fact that a lot of characters did not have low threat unless they did threat dumps, like rogues with Fade, and warlocks also had a threat dump in there that was fairly necessary in some of what they were doing. Kitty Druids also had some threat issues. I think possibly went the wrong way. Are we looking for the sewer eggs? Yeah, I think I followed the wrong people here. That guy just AFK'd. So my bars aren't quite set up the way that they are in live. Hibernate, that's pretty cool to have Hibernate again. I think I'll move that to a spot. Alright, that's the AFK guy.
You have no idea what you're up against, Lord King. We've only
Anduin sounds relatively adult there for a change.
I've never seen anything like it. Anything made can be broken. Get, follow me! Riflemen, lock and load. Advance!
I'll get the army. We can deal with them later. Blast the siege towers.
I feel like I am missing out on so much stuff right now. Is it upstairs? I think what I was supposed to do was go upstairs. And for those of you who can remember far back enough, you'll remember what it is like to play a Tauren in Undercity. Basically, all the arches in this place were just too small. Okay, let's find our way out of here. No? Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, grab those engines. Attack!
Why am I so ridiculously lost? It just teleported me out. That's great.
And it rained down upon their army.
There must be another way.
This is no time for sentiment, Ryan. War demands that we take
The blight again. That's bad news for the undead to be dealing with blight again. And now you know why she's killing her own troops.
Get your gas masks here! And if you're feeling sassy, you can grab one of these backpacks and get to work! For real!
So the bug reporter's in the way slightly.
Your brothers and sisters lie wounded on the battlefield. There is no honor in this victory if we abandon our own.
Slay them all, champions! Mark my words. King Anduin and his army did not come here for their amusement. They mean to destroy us. Show them no mercy.
This actually speaks to current politics. To see you have to go to these like extraordinary measures to get these victories over here. That aside from poisoning the enemy troops, you're also poisoning your own. So basically at this point over here, you want to go ahead and heal friendly horde units, and for those that are not friendly, you could either beat them down the standard way or just hose them down with blight. And once you hit the blight button over here, you will actually spread blight for I'd say about a good 20 seconds or so afterwards. So if you're running a class that can stand up to a bit of AoE, it's not a bad idea to just run into a group and kind of take care of it all at once. So we've hit 100%, and we are nearing say it's the end of the middle of the scenario over here. I have gone through it once before with a pre-made character, but a lot of the cutscenes were missing at the time.
Meet with Lordaeron. Quickly. Do not fail me, Nathanos.
I obey my queen. Heroes!
I obey my queen.
Bane, gather the catapults and every apothecary you can find. Send them to the keep at once.
Yes, my lord. But where is Sourfang?
There is no time. We have the precious...
I kind of don't blame Seraphang too much for bailing on the way that the undead are defending their city over here.
We will outnumber them 10 to 1.
Understood. I will meet you as soon as I can.
No. Lordaeron and I will...
It is a little bit sketchy how we're taking care of this situation.
You are not to leave her side.
How long are you expecting to hold them off? What is the war chief's strategy?
It is better...
My mount's carried over from
Go! Champions with me! We rally
from the Legion character transfer, but unfortunately my favorites didn't. I kind of suspected when I pulled the Hersteed. The Thanos is quite pissy in this little scenario over here.
Our front line will create a swamp of light between us and the enemy.
I still think one of my favorite scenarios of this type was the raid on Light's Hope Chapel when you play a Death Knight. And sadly, as you can see here going through my list of abilities, Mark of the Wild did not come back for Druids. A lot of the other classes got their buffs back, like Arcane Intellect and such, and I really would have been happy to have Mark of the Wild come back, as I was definitely a druid that never had any problems buffing groups or buffing raids or rebuffing after wipes and such. You pretty much never had to worry about needing a mark when you were in a group with me, as I also read add-ons that told me if people were missing buffs, but I am definitely sad that unfortunately we're not getting Mark of the Wild back. This part does get a little laggy. A lot is going on the screen at this particular point in time of the scenario, so if you have a slightly weaker PC, you will definitely begin to feel a little bit of pain. Enemy unit plates off helps a bit, but it does not help that much. And, you know, it's actually good to know what you've got targeted over here, because, I mean, Anduin is one of the units. The Gnome Leader is one of the units. Jaina's one of the units. I mean, the last thing you want to do is, again, is one of the units, too. Not too sure what it's like to pull aggro on those guys, as they could stand a good chance of absolutely kicking your ass. I think I recall that when I did this on my prefab hunter, I want to believe that maybe we focused again somewhat by accident, and I think we killed him. No, okay, we probably did not. I feel like there was way more people on the field when we were fighting than the cutscene shows.
No, they must not escape.
Jaina kind of gets a little Ronda Rousey at this point. This part, I think I recall, was slightly like the Arthas chase scene from the end of the Wrath of the Lich King dungeons. Not Pit, Halls of Reflection, I believe it was. I could only imagine what would have happened if they had picked Halls of Reflection as a time-walking dungeon when you did Wrath ones. That would probably be a rough dungeon for people.
So good of you to finally show up, High Lord.
I had to see it for myself. Was this your plan all along? Is this how you meant to achieve victory? This honor, this travesty?
I kind of agree with Sarafang on this.
Nothing to a corpse, Sarfang. You have the luxury of underestimating
very totalitarian stance that Sylvanas takes on this.
Perhaps I will raise your broken body to serve me once more. Or perhaps you will have a chance to say hello to your
Wow. She is fucking spicy.
champions. With
Those
me,
last two sentences dedicated to
invited to bear witness.
Sarafang was kind of rough. Sarafang did die when we were dealing with Ice Crown Citadel, so it was kind of a low blow there. So I think at this point, when I had first done it with the Prefab Hunter, I had encountered at least 2 or 3 cutscenes that just had generic placeholders. So it'll be nice to see what I was actually missing that time. So we get dropped off here at Org, and Nathanos is right in front of you. Turn in.
Here, Azeroth cries out for your aid. Come to Silithus. There's something you need to see.
So we're going to go ahead and pause the video for now, and we will pick it back up when we get into Silithus.